Welcome back to Muller's Mountains. I'm the Wasatch Woodsman. Today, we're going to be taking the first looks and first impressions of the Pinty Vanguard in the .22 caliber. So stay tuned and let me show you around. So before we get into the specs and first look and first impressions of the Pinty Vanguard, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Now's a great time to do it. It's just right below the video, and it really does help my channel grow. It allows me to do more content like this, more gear reviews, and more shooting videos and hunting videos. So help me out and hit that like and subscribe button. And without further ado, let's get right into this so we don't make this video too long. So what I have here is the Pinty Vanguard. It is a traditional looking air rifle. You have a very nice traditional composite stock with a nice softer rubber buttstock. Not that in air rifles you need anything recoil pad or anything like that, but it does make it comfortable when you are shouldering it. One thing that's really nice is because this is a composite stock and it only has a 100cc air tank, it is very light, coming in at about 4.8 pounds, which is very, very nice. One thing that I really like that Pinty did with this is they included a moderator. This is a removable moderator. It does not come mounted. It comes separate in the box. It has 1/2x20 UNF threads, so it is very universal. So you do not have to use this particular moderator. You can put whatever moderator you want on it, but it does come with it. So thank you, Pinty, for including that. The threads, it does come with a thread protector straight out of the box, so you have to remove that in order to put on the moderator they do provide. Standard cocking lever here. The cocking lever itself is actually fairly smooth, which I really like. My Pinty Vanguard, my Pinty Striker, for some reason, when you get back to this last third to quarter pole where it's actually depressing the spring to actually cock the air rifle, my Pinty Striker is a little crunchy. It's not very smooth in that last little bit. This one is much smoother, so I really appreciate that. It comes with a cross bolt safety, or a cross trigger safety, I should say. Take note that this particular cross trigger safety is, you can set it halfway. So you may hear a little click and you haven't set it all the way. And so you can still pull the trigger when you think it is on safety and it is not. So be careful. Make sure you depress it all the way one way or all the way the other way, because you can set it in between where it's neither on safety or off safety. So just be careful when you're doing that. So that is something I think they could maybe get a little bit better quality component in there, because that is a pretty important aspect to have functioning on any air rifle. So this is my particular air rifle. I do want to note that Pinty did send this to me. I did not purchase this, so thank you, Pinty. I appreciate it. But as always, I am committed to giving my honest, real opinion on these, regardless if it was provided to me or if I've purchased it with my own money. There are plenty of things I've purchased with my own money that I don't like. So I'm going to be as honest as I can with this. But again, Pinty, thank you for sending this out to me. I do appreciate it. It allows me to do more gear reviews and provide more content and information for those looking to get into the sport. This Vanguard comes in two calibers. One is the 177 caliber. The other one is the .22 caliber. This is the .22 caliber. Both come with two magazines. The 177, they are 9-round magazines, and in this .22 caliber, they are 8-round magazines. They come standard with iron sights. The rear iron sights and the front iron sight both have the little fiber optic inlays there. The back ones are green, the front one is red. It does make acquisition on target much quicker because you're not just looking at little white dots. You can actually pick that up pretty quickly. The mount itself, if you wanted to switch into a red dot or some sort of smaller scope or something like that, you are going to have to buy something that, a mount system that mounts to a dovetail rail. I'm not a big fan of dovetail rails. I don't have any mount system that works with dovetail rails. It's not even a weaver rail. I really would prefer if Pinty put a Picatinny rail on this. Pretty much anything modern accepts Picatinny or Picatinny style mounts. Pinty, if you're watching, make sure you get a Picatinny rail on this, because that's really what this needs to have. Matter of fact, any air rifle or anything like that really should have a Picatinny type rail, a minimum of a 20 MOA Picatinny rail for mounts. And you could still do iron sights with that, just with a Picatinny style mount on it, which would work really well with a small air rifle like this. And I do like that it comes standard with iron sights. But if you're going to mount something on this, some sort of red dot or a small optic, make sure you get the right style mounts, because it will have to mount on a dovetail rail. Overall, the gun is pretty decent. Again, composite stock, 100cc tank, really pretty nice. It is a smaller air tank. So for those of you that are looking to get into this, but don't want to spend $700 on an air tank, a 6 or 9 liter air tank, don't want to spend $300 or $400 on an air compressor, and you're looking at the hand pump, this is definitely a great option for that. 100 cc's is very manageable with, $100 with a $100 hand pump that goes up to 4,500 psi. Well, speaking of which, this air tank has a max fill pressure of 250 bar, which is roughly 3,625 psi, so just over 3,600 psi or 250 bar, which seems to be enough to get 2 full magazines worth of shots out of this, even in 22. Pinty does state in the instruction manual that you can get up to 20 regulated shots. So this is a regulated air rifle. You can get up to 20 regulated shots out of a single fill on this. So that is at least bare minimum 2 magazines. So after 2 magazines, you do a top off your magazines, and you're good to go for another 2 full magazines. In the 22 caliber, that's 16 rounds. That definitely makes sure you are not falling off your regulator and getting less accurate shots, because you're not getting full power out of them. Overall, my first impression is, yeah, it's a nice, decent little air rifle. So what I would like to do is take this downstairs in my basement. I am going to shoot 3 different types of pellets out of this. I'm going to shoot the AEA 15.9 grains, the JSB Hades, the 15.89s, and the JSB 13.43 grains to see what the air speeds are, what the feet per second and kind of energy we're getting out of this Pinty Vanguard. Take into account, please, as I go downstairs in my basement, it is only 15 yards. I don't have a ton of distance in my basement. So from corner to corner in my basement is 15 yards. And that's where I'm set up. And this only has iron sights. And so I am not going for accuracy here. I'm merely seeing what the shot count is like and what the speeds are like. Based off of what Pinty is telling me in their instruction manual, in the 22 caliber, it should be averaging about 760 feet per second. I'm assuming this is with a 15.9 grain pellet and not the 18.1 grain pellets, but I could be wrong. I'm just assuming because the 15.8 or the 15.9 grain pellets are way more common in a 22 caliber, and it's what most people use in their 22 caliber pellet rifles. So let's go downstairs in my basement, get a few shots of this, and see what those speeds look like. On to the shooting portion of this little first look at the Pinty Vanguard. Again, just super light little rifle, nothing too crazy. So 22 cal, because it has the dovetail mounting system, it doesn't have Picatinny or something else. I don't have any scope rings that are going to fit this, therefore I can't mount a scope or anything like that to this particular rifle at this time. So I will be using just the iron sights that it comes with. They do have the little fiber optic inlays to help you stay on target and pick that up a lot faster. I have fired one shot out of this just to make sure I'm actually hitting the target paper. And I am, and it seems to be from the box fairly accurate from the get-go. So not too much adjustment should be needed out of the box, but you'll have to do that on your own if you end up picking one of these up. So let's get right into this. Okay, first on the chopping block is the AEA 15.9 grain center punches. Let's give these a go and see what we can do. We've got the Rangecraft already set up. Let's take a look here. .806.8. .806.1. Okay. Let's take a look here. Summary is average is 806.1, standard deviation is 1.2, extreme spread is 5.2, and kinetic energy is 22.9 foot-pounds. Next up is the JSB 15.9 grain Hades, or the 15.89 grain if you want to be specific. So let's see what they're gonna do. .818.6, so 818.6. .818.9. So we're 816.8. 1.8 standard deviation, 5.6 extreme spread, and 23.6 foot-pounds. Last but not least are the JSB Exact Jumbo RS's, the 13.43 grain pellets. So let's give these guys a shot. .864.8. .858.6. Let's take a look. So 860.2 average, standard deviation is 2.2, extreme spread is 7.2, and kinetic energy is 22 foot-pounds on the nose. All right, so that gave you a little bit of information on how fast that's shooting. It did better than what they're stating in the specifications manual and the owner's manual that it comes with. For the 15.9 grain AEAs, it was about 806 feet on average per second. The JSB Hades was about 816 feet per second on average, and the JSB 13.43s were 860 on average. Now, one thing that I did run into, and it may be the case with this is the first time I've shot this air rifle. I have not shot this previously. That was literally the first time I was shooting this. Every once in a while, the regulator does have a break-in period, which means that you have to shoot some shots through there and it'll kind of settle out and kind of work itself. So I do not know if it will, after I put some rounds through this, if it's going to settle out to be about 750 to 800 feet per second on average, so the 760 is more accurate, or if it's going to stay right around 800 to 850 feet per second on average. If it stays in that 800 to 850 feet per second on average with the 22 caliber in those 15 grain pellets, man, that's like optimal. That's a great speed for 15 grain pellets. So yeah, I mean, overall, I wasn't trying to be accurate downstairs, but it did do okay grouping for me, just kind of pointing it at a target and trying to get in a similar area. I wasn't putting any effort to try and shoot the same spot, but it did okay. Pretty much everything was in the area where I was aiming. So if you were trying to shoot some small pests or birds or things like that, the iron sight's gonna work out well for you. Particularly if you were just getting in this for the first time, you don't have a ton of money, you really want to get a decent pellet rifle, I think this is a great starter pellet rifle. Now, which brings me into kind of some pros and cons, and what would I recommend this air rifle for, and is it any good? Is it worth the money that it's worth? So, pros, it's very light. Your kid could carry this. My 10-year-old son could carry this. An 8-year-old kid could carry this. So if you're looking to pick up a BB gun or a pellet gun, I'd recommend a pellet rifle. For your kid, you just want to get them into something so they can get out and shoot birds or rats or targets or, you know, soda cans or whatever in the backyard, or when you're out camping, things like this. Don't go buy a cheapy Walmart one. This is gonna be a pretty much a similar price to anything you could pick up at Walmart or anything like that. And I'm gonna tell you right now, it's probably gonna do a lot better than those as well. It is, in my opinion, a higher quality than something you would go pick up at Walmart. And you can buy these on Amazon and have it shipped right to your door. So I would definitely recommend, say, hey, if you're looking for something to get into, just some backyard plinking, something for a kid, or something that, hey, you're like, hey, I don't have enough funds to get into some of the heavier equipment like the air tanks or the air compressors, and you are going to be using a hand pump to fill this up, I would seriously consider the Pinty Vanguard. This 100cc air tank is very manageable to do with a hand pump. Or if you know you're going to be kind of out camping or riding an e-bike or four-wheel or something, and you're not going to have anything to take with you out there, really good option for you. And light. You could throw this on a backpack and not have any issues with it. Go out, you know, get some small rabbits or something like that. If you're going to go out and do some camping, or, you know, squirrels or things like that, this would be a great option for you for smaller game like that. Pro, it comes with a moderator. I love it. It's only 4.8 pounds. You do have the availability to fill this in any way you want with a air tank, a compressor, or a hand pump. So it's very capable in that area. Another pro is it comes with iron sights. They actually give you something right off the bat on this. So you do not have to go spend money on a red dot or a scope or anything like that. It quite literally comes with everything you need to pull it out of the box and get going. The only thing you would need additional is a way to fill up the air tank, but that goes with pretty much any air rifle you're gonna pick up or any pellet gun. You have to have some mode to fill it up, and this one you can do with a simple hand pump. The cocking lever is much smoother than my other Pinty rifle, which I really appreciate. Overall, those are the pros. There's two cons that I have with this particular air rifle that I will actually be sending an email to Pinty with some feedback. So hopefully this is something they may improve in the future, or at least I'll be giving them some feedback directly. Is one, gotta improve. The dovetail rails are just outdated. They're not a great option. I know the Picatinny options aren't hard to put on these, and they're fairly inexpensive. It really wouldn't be an additional cost. And Definitely, if it did add a little bit additional cost, the amount that you'd have to mark up the gun to actually put a Picatinny, a 20 MOA Picatinny rail on this would be negligible, and I'm pretty sure nobody would have any issues paying the extra few dollars to make sure this had a much more option-friendly rail for mounting any type of optic, red dot, or scope that you would like to put on this. The second thing is the safety. This cross trigger safety. I like cross trigger safeties. My Ruger 1022's got a cross trigger safety. Some of my other air rifles have cross trigger safeties. I really don't mind the cross trigger safety. I think it needs to be improved. It's the fact that I can set it halfway and it's not either on safety or off safety. It can be questionable as to whether it's on or off. I don't like that. I would say that is something that I would make sure and feel that probably needs to be improved. So that would be my second con. Overall, I'm actually impressed with the power on just this little 100cc tank, real basic 18-inch barrel air rifle, and about as budget as you can get. It is a pretty decent quality. Everything on here is fairly decent. Most of this, the actual hardware parts that matter is decently made. Nothing feels flimsy or cheap on it, which is very good, because anytime you pick up something and it feels cheap, or you're like, man, this is some super cheap plastic and it feels like you're gonna break it, nobody likes that. So this does not feel this way. It is composite, and there are some plastic or PLA components on here. They're very sturdy, they feel durable, they feel quality, so I am not concerned about those breaking or having any issues with them. Overall, my first impression is this is a nice little air rifle. Particularly, again, for me, this is again my opinions and my thoughts. For the everyday user, the average Joe out there, I would absolutely give this to my kids as one of their first pellet rifles. What a great option for learning how to use a gun, learning how to go out and have gun safety, to get trigger time, which is really important for young kids, is if you're going to be teaching them how to use a rifle or guns or any type of hunting equipment. This is a great way to go. It gets them something they don't have to have ear protection for. They can get out. It's got a small moderator. They can shoot it in the backyard. They can take it up camping. They can, go out in a field or something and shoot. It's not going to shoot 600 yards and shoot somebody's window out. So they're fairly safe to go shoot it in a backyard with a decent backstop, or in a field or something like that, without worrying about shooting through something or carrying, hundreds of yards to, potentially damage some other property. So this is a great beginner or first time air rifle. So seriously, if you're considering getting something just to get going, you want to see if you like air rifles or pellet rifles, you don't want to spend a ton of money in ways to fill this up, or you're looking to get it as a first option or a training option for a younger kid or a teenager or someone that's just learning to get into it and needs to learn how to handle a firearm, hold a firearm, how to use iron sights, how to aim, how to pull a trigger without jerking the gun, and just get some basic trigger time. I think this is one you need to seriously consider, because you're not paying really any more money than you would if you went down to Walmart and picked one up, but you're getting a much higher quality air rifle as compared to what you would pick up at Walmart or some of the big box stores. So definitely take a look at it. Go check out Pinty. And Pinty, thank you for sending it to me. I will be doing more with this, because I have some very specific uses that I'm going to use this for, particularly out at my dad's place this spring, as all of these pest birds come in and start eating all of his, eating up his garden and his fruit trees when they're blooming and starting to develop fruits and cherries, his cherry tree in particular. He gets a lot of pest birds that he needs to take care of. So I'm going to be putting this to good use out at my dad's place. And so stay tuned for some of that video. That'll be later in the spring and summer, but you'll be seeing a little bit more content with this soon. But in the meantime, thanks for sticking around. This is my first impression. Overall, I'd say it's got 2 thumbs up. A couple things I think Pinty can improve, but overall, if you're looking to get into something, man, give Pinty a serious consideration. They have other options as well, but the Pinty Vanguard, what a great starter air rifle for someone just getting into it that doesn't have a ton of money to buy all of the additional really expensive equipment that can set you back a few bucks. So thanks for sticking around. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.